Hey, folks, welcome back to the Land Fixer podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Logan Swanson. We are very excited to have Aaron Porter and Chris Thomas with AI Land Deals with us today. Guys, say hi to everybody.
Hey, how's it going?
All
Thanks
right.
for having us, Logan.
Oh, we are glad to have you. Folks, as usual, if you are looking for any funding for your land deals, go to landpartnerfunding.com. If you're interested in JVing with me on any sort of land flips, subdivisions, development projects, anything like that, go to www.thelandfixer.com, or you can email me at thelandfixer@gmail.com. And our sponsor for our episode today is Maps. Maps are good. If you like maps, they help you find places. I don't really know how to read most maps, and a lot of maps have weird colors. Maps. All right, guys. Thank you for being with us. You are the owners and founders of AI Land Deals. Can you tell us, I guess one at a time, I'll start with Aaron. If you'll tell us a little bit about what brought you here today and this new exciting product that you guys are launching.
We're just excited, Logan. We've been in the land space for 3 years. Chris and I started our own land investing, land flipping business 3 years ago. We joined a coaching program, didn't know anything about, real estate or land, and we just fell in love with it. And, we had some success, and then we just kind of noticed a few things that led us to create AI land deals to help all land investors find the best markets to spend their marketing dollars.
Cool. I usually like to ask a little bit about what course you took, what sort of flips you've done, maybe what that's looked like for you all the past couple years.
Yeah, definitely. So we started probably February 2022. We did Land Profit Generator, LPG course, Jack Bosch, did the year coaching program. Was awesome. Like we think coaching is fantastic. Learned a lot, met a lot of great people. Had awesome coaches throughout the process. So we did that for about a year, and then have been continuing to run the land business for the past 2 years after that as well.
And what's your bread and butter? Is it sort of like small flips, big subdivisions? What do you guys like to work on?
Yeah, we kind of we do it all. We do infill lots, we do rural acreage. We are not super picky. We more focus on assess to market value ratios and finding properties that have a margin there, which is why and what led us to creating AI land deals. But we do a little bit of everything. We eventually, want to get into subdivides and do that, but we've been spending a majority of our time last year creating the software and just doing a little bit of everything on the land flipping side.
Neat. Yeah. So I've done a fair bit of coaching and mentorship along the way. I don't have any sort of program like any of these guys. I just kind of usually like will give someone 10 weeks, 1 day a week. I say, or 1 hour a week. I'll sit down with you, coach you. You tell me the sort of business that you want to build, and I'll help you build it because I'm kind of like you. I do all sorts of different size projects. I've dabbled everywhere. So, and we always come to market selection as one of the early topics, right? And I've talked a lot about it. I mean, you were at my last or my first seminar, I should say, and I talked a lot about market selection. And so you heard my spiel. I pretty much say there's no wrong market. Every market is its own headache. You either have a very active market where maybe buying is going to be hard, but selling is going to be really fast, or you might have a really slow market where selling is going to be easy, but or buying is going to be easy, but selling might be kind of difficult or slow. And I know there's a lot of different ways that people will engineer market selection. And when you told me about your approach, which is, and I'll let you go in depth on it, but my understanding is you're effectively looking at what the county appraised prices are and where there's a delta between the actual market prices, because that's usually what folks are going to consider their property worth if they're not familiar with the market themselves. So you're going to say, hey, this area, this county is under appraising their land by a fair bit, so that's where we want to enter the market. Is that about what y'all are doing here?
I mean, you more or less just nailed it in that little 1 minute segment. I mean, we will have we'll happily bring you on board and you can pitch this with us alongside us. That was very well done. But that's exactly what we've created with AI Land Deals, and what we've built our business on was finding those deltas, like you said, finding areas that the county appraised value, the county assessed value has not caught up to actual market values. We I agree with you. You can do business in a lot of different markets, but if you can really focus in your marketing dollars, whether that's mail or text or cold calling campaigns, and not just spray it all over the place throughout an entire county and focus in on markets that have these margins, I think you end up saving a bunch of money as well as time up front researching these counties. So no, I think you nailed it exactly right. We've built our business on that because, like you said, you have sellers that, know what the market values of their property and that's what they want. And there's not really money to be made there. But then you have sellers that, don't necessarily know, but they see that annual once a year tax appraisal value, and that's kind of their assumption of what the property is worth. And as you know, in this business, it's an acquisitions business, right? The more properties you acquire, the more at bats you have, the more likely you are to hit base hits and home runs by acquisition. So if we built our business on acquiring properties at a high volume that at the assessed value or close to the assessed value range, knowing that the market value is higher than it.
Yeah. And that's, one of many approaches, but I really think it's one that's not spoken about a lot. And I think that's, probably the niche that you're going to fall into, right? And folks, I guess before we get into this, I wanted to let the audience know if you're just listening, this might be a good time to switch over to YouTube. You can look up the Land Fixer podcast on YouTube. This will be the most recent podcast, most likely if you're listening to it. But I'm actually going to have Chris and Aaron kind of do a little bit of a demo of this product because my biggest question, I'm sure you'll be able to show us here, is how granular are you able to be with this, right? So whenever I talk about market research, as soon as someone says like the county they're working, I'm usually thinking you're doing it wrong, because that's overbroad in my opinion. Typically, you need to be very specific on either a tight geography that you're going to know really well, or a specific property type, or around a certain lake, or around whatever it is. You really need to be a little more dialed in than just an entire county. So how are you able to dial in with AI land deals?
Yeah, we were able to take it granular to a zip code level. And I'll tell you what, that's just being strategic. When Chris and I first started, it just felt like we were throwing money against the wall like spaghetti and seeing what sticks, hoping we get a deal. Now we're strategic about it, and that's why we created AI land deals. And, in 3 years, we've netted over $1 million in our business. So, this is a software created by land investors for land investors. So I just want people to know that, we know what we're doing, and this has worked for us, and I think it's going to work for a lot of people.
Yeah, Chris, did you want to be able to maybe pull it up and demonstrate this a little bit while I ask you some more questions? The So you said you can narrow it down by zip code. That's correct.
Yeah.
So how about you kind of show us
Yeah.
how it works? Someone logs in. What are we doing?
Yep. So this is the app.ailanddeals.com. Once you sign up, you have the option of either picking you pick your states essentially. We're saying pick the states you want to work in. We'll show you the counties and zip codes that have those margins of assessed to market value. So you have the option of picking 3 states, 5 states, or 8 states. And so once you log in, you'll go to this search feature here. So just for demo purposes, your states will get highlighted. So we have Wyoming, Arkansas, and Maine that you've chosen. You click on that state. So Arkansas, for example, this is now going to show you from a county level. This is going to show you all of the counties within Arkansas. Keep in mind, there are 75 counties here in Arkansas. This is going to show you the first 25. If you go to the next page, it'll show you the next 25 and so on and so forth. So you'll notice these green, yellow, and red pins for each of the counties that are here showing. So a green pin is essentially going to represent a county that has a significant amount of the majority of the parcels in that green pin county are going to have a significant discrepancy between our margin between market value to assessed value. The yellow pins are going to be the majority of the parcels in that county have a good amount of margin between market to assessed value. The red pins are going to be counties that have market value where the assessed value has caught up to the market value. And even sometimes the market value is lower than some of those assessed values. So to your question, and I'll go into this more, but I wanted to answer your question as well, like Aaron did. You can take a county, for example, let's say, Fulton County, right? You can click on that county and it'll now zoom into the county's zip codes within there. So it's going to be the exact same concept, the green, yellow, and red pins. And these are going to be the zip codes within that county and the same spreads, green, yellow, and red. So you can really focus in and target, individual zip codes. And it's a great, and I'll stop after this, but it's a great question that you brought up, Logan, in that, you can get hyper focused, like even these red counties, for example, you can click on them, and a lot of them are like your bigger major metros. And
Bentonville, yeah.
yeah, say you wanted to mail there, you can click on those and you can get hyper focused and just mail or market to the green ones, the green zip codes within that major metro county. So, and there are people that are using the method of mailing major metros, but it requires a lot more marketing. So instead of spending marketing in that entire metropolitan area, you can just market to those green zip codes within that county.
Yeah, that's really cool. So what happens when you hit add to cart? So you going to, well, actually, first off, where is the data come from?
Yeah,
Um,
great question. So we researched a significant amount of data providers. We more or less learned in this industry that there's like three big, they're called like data atoms, I believe is what they're called. There's three big ones that pretty much everybody purchases their data from. The
yep.
counties all send them to these three companies, if you will, and then all the data trees and prop streams and everyone else buys their data from them. So it's coming from one of those, which is essentially coming directly from the county. There are 26 million land parcels in this software.
And do you think that accounts for like 100% of vacant land parcels? Like, do you know what percentage of that is? Because one thing, and I'm always a little critical of data brokers. So this has nothing to do with y'all. But I'm curious, since you've been in the belly of the beast here, putting this software together, are there gaps here? Because I know, like, I've worked with data tree and things like that, and I kind of stopped using them because of issues with their data. Now that was a couple years ago, so I'm sure things have improved. But I'm curious, working with those big data brokers, what do you consider the quality of the data that's pouring into your service?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's come a long way over the past couple of years. I think with data in general, there's always going to be like, gaps in certain areas. I mean, I can tell you there's certain states that maybe aren't as, their county data is not as accurate as other
Hmm.
states. And we can dive into the nitty gritty, but for the most part, I think most of them have caught up, and the data is pretty darn accurate and pretty well matches county data. There are going to be gaps and holes. I'm not going to sit here and tell you otherwise. I mean, it's just you're relying on the county and each 3,000 plus counties sending the correct data to these providers, if you will.
Hmm.
So.
Yeah, and I'm curious. Maybe you don't know this. This is just sort of random, but is the county um, incentivized to send that data to these giant brokers? These three giant brokers? Do you know that?
Haven't heard of that. No, I
I've
don't. I'm
always
not.
been curious how the system works because, like, obviously urban areas, their data is great, but there's counties that, because I've done a bunch of rural deals, like Brewster County, Texas. I've done, I don't know, probably well over 100 deals out there. And you can pull up the CAD map on the county and see 30 to 50% of the parcels don't even have APNs. Like, you see them cut on the map, but the county doesn't even have the records on who owns them, really. Um, and there's like a few hundred people that live in that whole county. It's tiny, or maybe a couple thousand. But yeah, I've always been curious, like, what incentivizes the county to update their information to this giant broker who then sells that information. It just seems kind of like one of those odd industries, where the public meets private. That's a very interesting point for data.
100%. I don't know the answer. I'd be very curious though. I'm assuming, monetary reasons they're paying for these updates, and hopefully somebody on the back end is, fact checking it in some capacity that the updates are congruent with what they're seeing on the CAD websites and things like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm derailing you. So, anyways, so go back to where we were, and you were picking a zip. So you would pick a zip code, you hit add to cart, right? Um,
Yep.
and
So let
then
me
go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. So let me show you a little bit too. So we've added a few things. So the green, yellow, and red pins, the logic is based on that margin of assessed market value, right? But we also know that coaching programs teach you about sell-through rates
Mhm.
and ratios, as some coaching programs call it. And so I remember when I first started 3 years ago in Aaron, we would spend, hours combing through Zillow sell-through rates and trying to figure out that perfect percentage. Um, we added that into the program. So, for example, Arkansas County, you can see here, it is a green county. It shows you the number of land parcels. It shows you the sell-through rate for 6 months, the sell-through rate for 12 months, just as another visual for people who are using the software to maybe use in their determination of what counties or zip codes to market to. Like you may alluded to, Logan, like I've marketed to counties that have a 10% sell-through rate, for example, and done very well there. And so I don't
Mhm.
necessarily know if that's but we just wanted to add that in just to have that visual so people aren't, especially users aren't taking all that time to do it themselves. So, in answer to your question, yeah, you can apply filters to your list. You can apply, filter for owner type, individual company, mailing address, out of state owners, out of county owners, in county owners, the assessed value, property size, if you're looking for large acreage or small acreage. You can remove properties that aren't on the market. And then you can also filter for like the last sale date if you don't want any properties that have sold in the last 3 years. So you would put those filters, whatever you want on. And then essentially, yeah, you could click on a county and or you can do the whole county or just zip codes, and you can say, okay, 72042 zip code. I like the sell-through rates. I like that it's green. I'm going to add that to my cart. You can then go to your cart and you will see it there. So um, we created this software for the mapping purpose, and so you can see those green, yellow, red pins. But we also wanted to be cognizant of finances for people, especially like new students. When we first started, we were like, mailing prices are crazy, data prices. In order to get those prices super, super low, you had to buy in bulk, buy all your mail ahead of time in bulk, or buy your data, commit to a monthly, data package to get it down. We feel strongly that our prices are super reasonable for people. If you wanted to pull the list, it's 4 cents a record per lead. And then if you wanted to mail it with a standard stamp, you're looking at 59 cents a record, which includes the 4 cent data. So 55 cents a record. I don't know what you've paid in the Logan in the past or what your users have, but I feel like those are, very reasonably priced.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I I really stopped doing large mailing campaigns for a number of reasons. But yeah, I mean that's pretty competitive with what I was doing a couple years ago. I think when I was really doing more mail.
Yep, yep.
Now, quick question. Um, so, say someone picks the mailing option. Are how does the is are those priced offers? What do the offer templates look like?
So currently we have neutral letters. That's
Okay.
how Aaron and I do our business. So if you choose the mailing option, you can either use just a default template that we have here for you, or you can, upload your own. Like for example, just I don't mind sharing, but you can upload your own that has your company logo, has a picture of Aaron and I on it,
It's
and you can do
cute.
either one of these. Um, But yeah, we will have in the near future have like blind offer templates as well for people that are doing blind offers. This was kind of what we started with. As I said, we launched like literally, I think just under 2 weeks ago.
That's awesome. Yeah, and then I think another great feature would be skip tracing kind of built in. Because I know most successful campaigns. Well, actually, I'm curious. Are y'all mostly just doing mail right now?
Yeah, we're about 80% mail and 20% text.
Oh, wow, you're still texting. Cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
because I was gonna say most people that I know who are really killing it right now use like a multi-touch system. So it'd be mail and then maybe a text message and then a phone call and then a follow-up postcard. Like I know people who have five touch systems in their acquisition stream. Um, so yeah, I think this is really cool, and I think there's a lot of room to really make it even more powerful. Um, so yeah, that's awesome, man. And you can do the first class mail. That's appreciated. What is the mail house y'all
Right?
use?
It's appreciated a lot. We have three. We have one that's on the West Coast, one that's in the Midwest, and one that's on the East Coast. Depending on your owner's mailing address, it comes out of that house, so it gets there a lot faster.
Okay, sick. Um, and then kind of backing up a little bit, I forgot to ask this question on the sell-through rates. Where's that data come from? I'm curious how you're able to aggregate that, and how up to date is it?
Great question. So it updates monthly, both on the data side as well as even these color coding logic that's going to update monthly. I'll kind of back up just a second. So what we did was we took 26 million land parcels, put it into this software, has the county assessed values for each one of them. Then we essentially put a market value comp on all of them using MLS data, Redfin, Zillow data, um, integrated AI to kind of piece the two together. And so that's how more or less we got the market value and the assessed values for these parcels. And so the you asked me about comping or sorry.
The sell-through rate.
Yeah, yeah. So the sell-through rate is going to be a combination from the county data that gets shown to us, like if properties did sell and when they sold, as well as Redfin Zillow data, MLS data of when and like within the past 6 months, the number of solds over the number for sales using both of those.
That's really cool. Yeah, and kind of to just full cycle this. So imagine someone's coming in, they're using your service, they're running through, they're picking some of these sweet green pin counties. What you have a short name for them?
Yeah.
Mailing some green pins today. Go pick some green pins. And so they're saying that they send out neutral letters, and then they're kind of sitting waiting by the phone, right? And I'm assuming if this is the methodology in your business, do you have a specific sort of approach to those intake leads where you can, because like the biggest part of this is that you're allowing the anchor price to be associated with the appraisal district price of the property, right? So do you kind of steer the conversation towards that price when you're in that first conversation? I'm just curious how you handle that in your business, and that might inform folks on how to better use your tool.
100%. I mean, that's spot on. We do things a little different in our business where I mean, Aaron and I talk to every single lead, and we personally get on the phone with them. I know a lot of people don't do that, and I know a lot of people do, but we talk to every single one, and we definitely try to take those assessed values and call it steer the conversation and kind of use that as like a baseline for the discussion point on the offer that's going to be received.
Yeah,
I mean,
and if
I think
and if
that
they
was
go ahead,
I
Aaron.
think that was, a big reason why we created the software, right? 8 out of 10 sellers, when you're talking to them on the phone, hey, John, what do you want for your property? Try to get a number out of them. And 8 out of 10 times, John's like, well, I don't know what it's worth, but this tax bill says it's worth 20K. So around 20K. So if we can identify areas and zip codes where that, market value is 40, 45K, like, I mean, that's just a home run. Like, let's take swings in those areas over, the red areas.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a brilliant approach because you do always have like anytime you're in one of these conversations with a seller, one of you is going to have to establish an anchor, and then you're going to have to work up or down from that anchor. So I think kind of beating them to the punch, especially if you know that it's below the retail value. If you can say, hey, if I can get you 80% of the appraisal district's value of your property, would that work? And they're like, well, what is that? If they don't know, or if they do know, like that's a good way to start it. And that's probably how I would do it. I would try to get a discount on the appraisal value price. And if they're like, no, I want full appraisal price, and you're like, all right, you got me. I'll spend
Yeah.
20,000 on this $45,000 property. You're a tough negotiator. You can give them an easy win there. Or they might say, okay, fine. Yeah, 80%, I'll take it. So yeah, that's brilliant. And have you noticed, like the trend right now, we see this a lot in Texas, but I know it's happening all over the place, where appraisal districts are catching up and they're jacking up the price points for the the appraised prices of the properties. And in fact, at our last seminar, one of the guys that came is an appraiser in Denton County. So I was like, "You bastard! You're on the other side of them." I was like, "Don't come back here." But
Leave right now.
yeah, it's like if I would have known. um, but what's happening is a lot of shifting right now, where the appraised values are hopping up and sometimes even eclipsing the market value of properties somehow. And I'm curious, are you seeing that, or is there any like if I was building this software, I would have a back end that has special reporting in it for just me. So I'm curious, like I don't know if you have that, but that's what I'd have. But I don't know if are you seeing like this catching up? Like, are you seeing more red dots or yellow dots than green dots each month that it updates?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think yes, you are correct that they are catching up, but what we found is that the vast majority are not. Like the
Mm,
vast majority are just like super outdated county records, county websites, and they're just it would require people. I mean, when we sell properties, we always get the letter from the appraisal district and they say, hey, how much did you sell your price, especially in Texas, right? How much,
hmm
and we throw them away. And I'm assuming most people do as well.
Burn them.
Um, yes, yeah, yes, they do make paper airplanes out of them. Yeah, they do. They are catching up a bit. The beauty about this software, though, is it updates monthly. So if the appraisal values are changing or the market values are changing, this will change. So to answer your question in a nutshell, we haven't seen, like 40% green pins now being 30% green
Yeah,
pins.
exactly. That's kind of the trend. I was curious if you were seeing.
Yeah.
Um, And you, especially since land is hard to comp, I imagine that job of appraising, you know, acreage is just a pain in the ass. So I'm hopefully like the people doing it are just like, I'll just stay conservative and market lower. But um, I mean,
Exactly right.
most municipalities that I'm aware of are struggling for money. And the way that they can do, try to fix that or close the gap sometimes is going to be for the appraisal districts.
Yep.
Um, well, cool,
Another
man. What other
another
cool
cool
stuff?
feature. Yeah, another cool feature. So I mean, we're going to be doing releases, updates, new things added to the software, every couple months. But our next big release, we're going to have demographic data filters. So you'll be able to, search by age of the seller, right? Because I mean, how many times, is your seller over 55 years old? Well, how about we just target those people, you know?
Hmm.
So yeah, we're excited. We got a lot of things in the pipeline.
Cool. Yeah, and you guys are using two very powerful letters right now, which is AI. Where in this process does that AI fit in? I'm curious. And what was it like implementing that into this software?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So I would say the two main things that AI is currently doing in the software is you have all of these properties, right? These 26 million parcels of land, and they're based off of like an APN, and then there's a latitude, longitude, and you're trying to get a market value of each one of them using MLS, Zillow, Redfin data. So the AI is pinpointing the two, right? It's saying this parcel number lines up with this 1 mile radius of sold prices or for sale prices, and it's getting those things to coexist. So that's the main point, the main piece that AI is using. It's also we're using in this software to start leveraging it with looking at sold and for sale prices from the MLS and doing that through OpenAI. So, a couple months ago, you couldn't do that because OpenAI couldn't access like the web, but recently they launched where you could. So,
Hmm.
we're using it to also get and hone in on market values of these parcels. Because, like you said, land is not easy to comp. If we took a
Yes.
parcel and we gave it to 10 different land investors, they would all probably have a different comp, more or less. And so being able to leverage AI to really fine tune those numbers is important.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I feel like it would be the hardest step in this entire process would be to take a zip code of properties and comp it with a software, right? Because for example, in my land company or my funding company rather, um, people will bring deals to us to fund, right? And one of the things that I see that I immediately throw away is any sort of like priced.com, anything like that, where they're aggregating the retail value based off of, whatever last 100 transactions in that zip code, because it means almost nothing to a specific property. So I imagine if you can get a well-suited AI in there, I mean, that is probably the most pivotal step, especially in, any large zip codes where you're going to have dynamic terrain types, dynamic property types. In one zip code, you might have, the edge of a major city, and the difference between 5 miles from that major city could have a dramatic effect on the value of the pricing. Um, so yeah, I think that's probably where AI is going to be the most helpful. And I'm curious, are you guys looking every month at what AI tool you're going to plug in there? Because there always seems to be, DeepSeek comes out, and then Claude, and then it's like 100 of them now, and they're all competing. Like I've been playing around with Grok recently, and Grok's actually a pretty powerful tool.
We've looked at several and our we have implemented in here one of the major players. But it would be interesting to kind of compare and contrast because like you said, I've heard of Gronk's done very well as well, and it's a fun tool. But right now we have one of the bigger players that are implemented in here.
Okay, sick. And then do you have a secret list of like gold star pins where the sweetest deals live that you would never share? Um, that's what I would do. I would have and then I just delete them off of your map. Like, sorry, that zip code does not exist.
To the fire pins.
Yeah.
Fire pit. So we've used this and we looked kind of at our numbers as well and our KPIs. 8 of our 10 biggest deals we've done over the past year and a half came in green counties. And 3 of those were six-figure deals. So we we know that there's enough to go around in this community because it's a fairly tight-knit, smaller community, and so we're hoping that it helps a lot of other people the way it's helped us in our business for sure.
Yeah. Um, well, cool. So I think y'all have covered everything. Is there any other features we haven't hit upon yet? I see favorites, so it looks like you can pick some zips and drop them in your favorite section. Hit the little heart button. Um,
The
anything
affiliate
else?
program. You want to talk about the affiliate program, Chris?
Yeah, that's probably we really want to grow like organically. We're not looking to like dump a bunch of money into ads and things like that and commercials and whatnot. We have an affiliate program. So if you're a user and you sign up with, you click the affiliate program link, sign up with us, you'll get 20% back for every user that you have signed up, friends, family, colleagues that use the program. So 20% month over month for everyone that you kind of bring to the table with us. And like I said, we really want to grow organically and spread word of mouth. And like this podcast, we're super grateful for you allowing us to be on here with us. And so that would be the only other thing. And like Aaron said, we're updating all the time. We will have skip tracing capabilities in the next several months to where you can cold call and do all those things as well. And so that's definitely coming soon.
And another great feature that we're going to offer is once a week Zoom, with all our users. So we'll talk a little bit about the software, and then we're just going to talk land. There's either going to be people that are experienced, new people, just a mix of everything. And, once a week, Wednesday evenings, we meet and we all learn from each other, right? I mean, let's all win together. That's our motto.
Badass. Well, guys, I think that's it. That was awesome. I really appreciate y'all coming on and debuting this product. I'll definitely be publishing this up in my groups, and I can intro you to some other folks that I think might be good connections for you. Any last words? Oh, I guess send them to the website, right? AIlanddeals.com. Any other place that they can check y'all out, or if they wanted to reach out to you directly?
Yeah, go to AI Land Deals with a Z, AIlanddeals.com. You can also email us at app at AIlanddeals.com. Shoot us an email, connect with us. You're looking at well, if you're on YouTube, you're looking at the company, the two of us, so it goes to us. But yeah, go to our website, AIlanddeals.com, and you can also, you can, if you go to that website, you can book a demo with us too. We can do a 30-45 minute demo, show you the product, answer any questions. So go to the website, book a demo, and we'd love to connect.
Awesome. Well, folks, that's it. Aaron, Chris, thank you so much for your time today. Folks, if you need to reach out to me, go to thelandfixer@gmail.com or www.thelandfixer.com. I can help you with funding, JV, whatever. Also, don't forget our sponsor, Maps. They get you places. All right, folks, we'll see you on the next one. Thank you. Cheers.